it has been some quarterback carouseling going on here as of late in the NFL. Quarterback switching hands. I don't think there's been a time recently where we've seen so many quarterbacks who played for one team, like legit starters who've played for one team, that will all of a sudden be looking for a new home next season. It's rare that you see so many guys change homes. I just don't think it's something that we're used to seeing, because usually you don't find people trying to get rid of their starting quarterback. You normally see people trying to go out and get a starting quarterback. So when we see teams getting rid of starters, I think that just tells you that the playoffs last year, people came to the realization that the game is different now. Like, and I don't mean the game as in the game of football. I mean that in the NFL, they have decided that if you want to be able to compete with Patrick Mahomes, if you want to be able to compete with Josh Allen and what he's got going on over there at in Buffalo, if you want to be able to compete with the Bengals and what they have going over there with Joe Burrow, if you want to be able to compete with the Rams, who've shown that they're willing to throw every little cent of money at trying to win a championship, they're showing that if you want to do these things, if you want to be in that mix, then you have to go out and get a quarterback who can win you games. Like, and to me, that's the difference, right? We're not talking about whether or not you can go and find a quarterback who can do the job. Like, there are a lot of quarterbacks out there that can do the job. That's not the question. The question is, can you go out and find a quarterback that can win you games? And if the answer is no, then you got to go and change quarterbacks. If you don't have one, that can win you a game, then you have to go out and you have to find a quarterback that will. And a lot of these teams that think that they are a quarterback away from competing, a lot of these teams that think that they're a quarterback away from making that run have just decided they're not willing to wait. And so, in Cleveland, they said, hey, we don't know if Baker Mayfield's the guy. We don't know if Baker Mayfield can lead us to a championship. We don't have any evidence that he can. But you know what we have? We have evidence that Deshaun Watson can lead a team to a championship. We've seen him do it, right? We have evidence. We've seen him do it. Deshaun Watson. And so because we have evidence and we've seen him do it and he's available and we have the means to get him, and because we don't have any legitimate pressing needs that require a first-round draft pick, we can afford to mortgage the first-round draft pick future for the next few years because we're going to have a quarterback for the next few years. So the Browns gone all in. The Colts, they've been trying. Instead of giving a legitimate shot to the quarterback that they had, they decided they were going to take a 1-year flyer on Phillip Rivers to see if they could catch lightning in the bottle, similar to what I think the Rams' thought process was. I don't think they originally were going to go and try to have Matthew Stafford be their quarterback for the next 5 years. But he won a championship, so, They tried to go Phillip Rivers. That didn't work out. So then they tried to go Carson Wentz. We knew that wasn't going to work out. And so now they're back. And they're like, hey, no, we're not done. Get out of here, Carson Wentz. Come on in here, Matt Ryan. And now it's Matt Ryan's turn to see if he can be the missing link to what Indianapolis needs to win a championship. I say no. I say no because, you know, he hasn't done it. Like, I don't believe Matthew Stafford was the missing link to the Rams winning a championship. That's the misconception, right? The Rams didn't win a championship because Matthew Stafford was there. All of the wins, all of the stuff that they did, they were doing that when they had a Fugazi quarterback. The difference, right, was the defense. The defense was the difference, not the offense. The defense was the difference. And what did they do at the in the middle of the year? They brought in another defensive player, another guy who in the playoffs was who he is. And they were able to get over the hump. I don't think that was a Matthew Stafford thing. So then the question becomes, with all of these quarterbacks starting to swing, who's going to get left out? Right? Trubisky goes to Pittsburgh to probably lose a legitimate open quarterback battle to Dwayne Haskins. Right? Marcus Mariota to Atlanta? Really, Atlanta? So I don't even want to talk about. If you want to know how I feel about how the Falcons have handled the last 2 years, the last 2 off seasons, go follow me on Twitter at Gene Clemens. You'll see what I posted. There's no real need for me to continue to rag on them. They're not a very well-run organization right now. And I don't really particularly care what anybody says. I don't like what they're doing. They got themselves into cap hell by signing people to long-term deals that they should have never signed to long-term deals. Then their answer to it is not to stay the course and let some of this run until we can get out safely. Their answer was, hey, let's blow it all up and sell all of these pieces off for nothing at the absolute worst time you can possibly do it. Whatever. The Falcons traded Matt Ryan away for a 3rd-round pick. A 3rd-round pick for a guy that you were giving, what, $30-something million to a year? A guy that's going to count $40+ million against your cap? $40+ million, the most dead cap money in the history of the NFL. You gave that guy away for a 3rd-round pick. And he has accomplished more in his career than Matthew Stafford has. And he is younger than some of these other guys who some of these other old quarterbacks who are getting money. I assume the Falcons traded him because they said, we're not winning a championship here anytime soon. So the reset starts now. Probably should have did that last year where there was a quarterback heavy, a quarterback rich class. Probably should have never signed Matt Stafford to that large of a contract. What was that, 2 years ago? Probably should not have done that. But you did it. So Matt Stafford goes to Indy. Marcus Mariota's the answer. We bring him in? Or is he just, we needed to have a quarterback so that people thought we were doing something? I don't know. I don't like it. Guess who doesn't want Marcus Mariota starting for his team? Which is really a shame, by the way. If you guys ever followed me, I used to be super high on Marcus Mariota back at Oregon. Very similar to the way I was super high on Carson Wentz back at North Dakota State. But I always say you have to show me progression, right? And so as a sophomore, Marcus Mariota looked fantastic. I was like, man, if he continues to progress, he is going to be really, really good. And he stayed the same. Got into the NFL, performed decently, got hurt. And I think when he got hurt, that jumbled his head up. He really wasn't the same after that. Maybe he's coming back, but that means he's only a mediocre quarterback. That means he's only average. And average isn't going to get it done in this climate if you think the quarterback is the reason why you are winning a championship. So Matt Ryan goes to Indy, Mariota, Atlanta, New Orleans losing out on Watson, like Atlanta did. They decide, hey, let's keep Jameis Winston. Dudes, you should have done that from the beginning. It was going to be your most affordable route to go. You guys are in cap hell. You're in cap hell every year. You find a way to make it happen. I ain't mad at you. But he knows the offense because you promoted from within. He knows the offense. You were winning games with him last year. He was throwing touchdowns and not interceptions last year. He got hurt because you had him out there with half an offensive line and no starting wide receivers. So now let's see if you actually, really care. What are you going to put around him now? Bunch of receivers in this draft that can be good. Mixed with the receivers that you already have. A bunch of them. We've seen the Taysom Hill experiment. We don't need to see that anymore. We know what it is. He's a special teamer and a guy who comes in as a gadget, H-back, wide receiver, running back hybrid. Let him exist in that world. The merry-go-round is going, but where does it land? Like, who gets left out? Can anybody tell me where Baker Mayfield's going? Where is there left for Baker Mayfield to walk into a starting situation? Where's the landing spot? Because people are saying that it's wait a minute. Sorry, I have some issues going on with my computer. Some people are saying that it's that it's North Carolina. It's Carolina, the Panthers. And I go, okay, but if it's the Panthers, what do the Panthers have to offer the Browns that they can get Baker Mayfield from the Browns? Because, think about this. The Browns don't have to get rid of Baker Mayfield. I could argue that the Browns could hold on to Baker Mayfield. They don't owe Baker Mayfield anything. They're not wronging Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is their asset. He's their player. They had an opportunity to upgrade over Baker Mayfield. They did it. It doesn't mean that they don't like or believe in Baker Mayfield. It's that they like or believe in Deshaun Watson more. And so if the only team that absolutely, positively, 100% needs a quarterback right now is sitting in Carolina, but they don't have the resources to actually acquire Baker Mayfield because they traded away resources to get another quarterback who was wildly overrated and proved to not be good, or at least has proven to this point to not be good, then what do? Where is the landing spot for Baker Mayfield? Pittsburgh has Trubisky. They have Haskins. I think it would be fair to say as of this moment that Baker Mayfield would be an upgrade over them, but that may not be how they're thinking. Seattle has Drew Lock. I think it would be safe to say that Baker Mayfield would be an upgrade over him, but that may not be how they're thinking. Because if you're in a full reset mode and the way that you won a championship and went to the championship was with a quarterback on a rookie deal, do you want to jump in and grab Baker Mayfield, who is going to be paid all of this money? The merry-go-round is telling me Baker Mayfield might have to sit down for a year. And by the way, that might be the best thing for him because Baker Mayfield has tools, right? But Baker Mayfield is arrogant. And Baker Mayfield, for as much as people say Baker Mayfield was humbled, he hasn't really been humbled. He wasn't humbled in college. Why, you say? Because he never actually felt as if he was the reason. So when he didn't keep his job at Texas Tech and he decided to transfer, right? He didn't think of it as, man, what was it about me that these coaches didn't want me to be their starting quarterback? He said, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. And he went to Oklahoma and became a star. Then he was the number 1 overall pick, even though he should not have been. He was the first quarterback taken, even though he should not have been. So he's had bad seasons with the Browns, and every time he's had a bad season, people have made excuses for him. So he hasn't been humbled. But if you look around the NFL landscape and there's 32 spots and you don't get one of those 32 spots, that should be humbling, especially when you were set up to get big money and they were going to have to back the Brinks truck up for you. That's humbling. It might not be a bad thing for him to sit down for a year. He's young enough. Sit down for a year, chill, hang out, relax. Become a better person. Learn more things. There'll be another spot for you next year. How do I know that? Mitchell Trubisky is getting an opportunity in New York. In Pittsburgh. Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor are in New York. Carson Wentz is in Washington. There are places that have quarterbacks, but they don't have their long-term solution. And Baker Mayfield could be somebody's long-term solution, but he might not be somebody's right now choice. So when the merry-go-round stops or when the music stops, is he the one left without a seat? That remains to be seen. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, like, subscribe. Also, check out my top 5 basketball players in the city of Savannah. That dropped yesterday at 6 o'clock. Top 5 basketball players in Savannah. Today, look out for my top 5 girls basketball players in Savannah. You won't want to miss it. Y'all have a good day. Peace.